Hey everybody, and welcome to another one of our videos in our Sacred Sexuality series. Once again, this month I am serving some more potatoes. So again, I know the first several months I really did a lot of meat, diving deep into the bioanatomy of sex magic, the deital associations, the numerology and symbol associations, setting up those altars, working with your golden shadow. I reviewed the sexual chakra system and how that works. So, what I've been doing these last couple of months, well, last month and this month, is kind of giving some potatoes to that meat. Very simple practices, very simple spells and rituals that anyone can do at any level with very minimal experience and supplies. So, last month I presented a grouping of very basic spells and rituals, and this month I'm doing 25 more. So I'm going to pull up the PowerPoint and walk you through this next batch of simple sex magic workings. I will let you know that next month, as we go into November, I am going to go back to meat. I'm going to be doing the astrological talisman presentation for sex magic work. Very different from several months ago when I presented Buddhist magic, that Tibetan Tantra magic, working with the red and black taras for sex magic purposes and creating those sex magic malas and the mantras. Which is amazing, by the way. And I do have those kits both on Etsy and my main site, and I believe in my TikTok shop as well. But next month, I'm going to walk you through what's involved with making the astrological talismans, which is pretty heavy stuff. But astrological talismans are powerful, especially in sacred sexuality practices. So I'm looking forward to that. But this month, again, we're going to jump into some more fun potatoes. So hang on, let me pull it up, share my screen here. I hope you guys are all doing well too. I know we're approaching Samhain. We just came out of the new moon, which was at 28 degrees, the first of six. So it's kind of like heavy energy right now, which is it's good heavy energy, but it's still maybe a little draining. But okay, let's jump into it. Sacred sexuality. 25 more fun spells, rituals, and recipes. I can't see my arrow. There we go. All right, so this first one is the moving in together house blessing, a cohabitation blessing, if you will. So for this, you're just going to need a broom, some sage, some white flowers, a blue candle, some clearage or uncrossing incense, some candle carving supplies, newspaper, and love oil. The best time to do this one is as soon as you move into a place together with your SO. You can even cast this if you're going on vacations, like if you're staying in an Airbnb or some other vacation home together when you're going to be cohabitating there for maybe a week or two. So moving in together is a big deal. So congratulations. It's not easy living with other people. You're gonna, hear all sorts of things, that and see all sorts of things that can be a little bit off-putting. Cohabitation is about compromise, and that can be hard. But you do get to wake up every morning next to that person that you care for. And so that's a rewarding feeling. And it's important to try to create sort of that love nest vibe when you start cohabitating together, kind of bringing both of your energies together in that one environment. But you do want to get rid of any energetic residue that has been left behind by previous tenants, residents, especially like say somebody's moving in with you in your place and you've had formers live with you. You definitely want to clean that energy up. You don't want that old energy kind of like haunting you in your new relationship, your new cohabitation situation. So, very simple spell. You're going to get out your broom, you're going to sweep, clean up the literal dust left behind. You're going to sage the entire place. I would start in a clockwise circle, sort of making sure to get in all the corners. One thing you can do too here is a candle sealing spell. That is on my YouTube, and I'm trying to think which video that's in. I believe it's in my threshold magic video. Candle sealing is a great way also to kind of bless and set the intents for a place where there's going to be cohabitation. Anyway, with the sage, start in a clockwise circle. Make sure to get in all the corners. I would place bouquets of white flowers around the home. They don't have to be like really expensive. They can be carnations, but they do symbolize like new beginnings and peace. I don't know why there's so many number symbols in here. I must have did a horrible job editing this. Sorry. All right, so for tranquility, with the home blessing, use that blue candle. I like using pull-out candles. It's easy, especially if you're not pouring your own wax. Remove the candle from its glass shell and then sage the inside of the glass and around the candle. Light that clearage or crossing incense to really help exterminate any lingering nastiness in the environment. Carve an image of home into the blue candle. It can be like a very rudimentary drawing. You don't have to be good at this. It's really the thought that counts. Carve you and your partner's names and zodiac symbols, if you so choose, into the candle. Dress it with that love oil to encourage love between you and your partner, and get that candle somewhere, pretty in the environment, and light it up. And then I put go have sex to consecrate the new space. That's a great way. Sex is a great way to really infuse that energy into that environment where you're going to be cohabitating. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't, may turn that off. I can't believe that just turned on. Okay. All right, the wedding bell candle. So for this one, you're going to need music, a white pull-out candle, sage, honey, some dried rose petals, some love scents. Like what scents make you feel like, I don't know, love. It's different for everybody. I like Tom Ford's Black Cherry. A small plate or coaster, newspaper, candle carving supplies, some love drawing oil or love consecration oil, some glitter. I love glitter. You guys know this. And if you can get hair from your partner and yourself, that would be beautiful. All right. The best time to do this one is a full moon right before your wedding. So, of course, congratulations on finding someone worth marrying. That's hard to do nowadays. Believe me, that's a massive achievement. So, this is kind of like a loving and protective candle spell to ensure that the wedding goes well. And it also works to bless your sacred union. So, we're going to use white candles, not because they represent purity, but because it's a protective color. I will tell you, I am called the wedding witch in some circles. I do a lot of wedding work, very paganistic from all pantheons, I love doing a lot of work in the weeks leading up to the big day because it really kind of sets the energetic tone for the big day. So you can check that out on my site. Like if you're looking for advice on what to do to really kind of bless the union, I recommend things like consumption spell work, like hand fasting cakes that are infused, prior to that big day, salt rituals, the bread and salt exchange at the actual event. So there's lots of different things. Anyway, you can pick my brain if you want, send me an email. But for this spell, you're going to put on some music that reminds you of your partner. You're going to take your white candle out, sage that glass again. You're going to pour some honey to help you stick together into that glass jar. And it's going to help sweeten your love. Okay. So I love using honey for any kind of like sweetening connective works. It really does work very well. And then sprinkle some dried rose petals on top. You're going to take that love incense or scent. Like I said, I like Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. Yeah, Lost Cherry, it's called. That reminds you of your partner, and hold that or spray it inside the glass so it fills up with smoke. Place a coaster or small plate on top of it just to kind of keep it in there. Meanwhile, get that newspaper out, and over that newspaper, carve your name, your zodiac symbol, your partner's name, their zodiac symbol. And when I say zodiac symbols in these spells, use their sun sign. You can use their rising or their moon sign, but stick to the sun sign. It's pretty easy just to stick to sun signs for these. You're going to carve that into the candle. You're going to roll that candle in love oil until it's wet and sticky. On that newspaper, sprinkle your glitter. And you can't go wrong with pink or red, but look into color magic. Really, what are the colors of your wedding? I would use those colors. Sprinkle those snippets of yours and your loved one's hair on top of the glitter, and then roll that candle back and forth over the newspaper until it's covered, right? Remove the plate or coaster on top of that glass. You can watch the smoke kind of billow out, and then, just drop that candle back inside its casing. It's ready to burn, and once it's finished burning, the spell is complete. Very easy, right? Getting over former lovers, that's a hardie, right? That's a hard one. So what you're going to need for this one is some rose petals, coconut oil, a mortar and pestle if you have one, some dragon's blood, banishing oil, salt, hair of the former partner or nail clippings if you can get them, and a black human figure candle. So the best time to cast this one is during the waning moon. Sometimes things just don't work out. If everything in life did, it would be a lot less interesting, and that's true, right? We wouldn't grow. Like the only time we grow as humans is when we're challenged. We don't wake up and say, "Oh, it's a beautiful day, I should change." No, it's when shit hits the fan. So it doesn't mean that the breakups that we experience don't hurt. They can be more painful than death for some people. So to protect ourselves from reality, we often view our former lovers through rose-colored glasses that sort of prevent us from seeing the truth of the situation, right? That everything is as it should be, even when it hurts. These things have to happen. So this spell is going to help you kind of look at the situation clearly so that you can move past that connection that is still generating these emotional responses. So take 3 rose petals, one to represent you, one to represent your ex, and one to represent the relationship, including the breakup. Soothe each petal by gently rubbing coconut oil onto the flower. Place the petals into your mortar and pestle. You're going to add 3 pieces of dragon's blood to strengthen the spell and aid in protection from that pain. So pour in some banishing oil, enough to really help mush those ingredients into a paste. And I would sprinkle some salt to remove both those rosy glasses and, again, the pain. So now if you have hair or nail clippings or anything like that, any kind of personal effect, bodily personal effects work very well here. Add that in and mash up that whole mixture using your mortar and pestle. So you're going to sage your black candle to remove any energies picked up, elsewhere, especially if you're ordering candles online. You guys always cleanse that when you receive it before you use it. Select whichever body type that best represents your former lover, and then anoint that candle with your magical paste. Okay, so as you anoint the candle, say your former lover's name. Wherever you are now, I see things for how they are. Hurt and pain burn away, make room for the glory of another day. You don't have to use that. I'm just kind of giving you something to use. Again, I really, we get caught up in sacred sounds, sacred words, sacred syllables. And, especially if you have a Buddhist practice, or you work with the Taras, you're really tied into that, but it doesn't have to be that way. Whatever works for you. The statement needs to be one of release though, right? So place that candle somewhere safe and light it. And once it is finished burning, the spell is complete. Very, very easy, I hope. I hope these are easy. I think they're easy, but I could be wrong. Let me know, email me if they're not. All right. So protecting your friendship with benefits. I think a lot of us have had the friendship with benefits thing. There's nothing wrong with it. It's pretty normal and accepted socially these days. So if you want to protect that connection, what you're going to need is pink roses, water, honey, a mortar and pestle, pen and paper, and an envelope. The best time to cast this one is the full moon also. So a friends with benefits situation can either be the best thing that happens to you or the worst. So on a good day, you have incredible sex with someone you respect and care for as a friend. In between breakups, potentially, that's your reliable sex go-to person, right? But on a bad day, someone falls in love, but not both of you, and the situation ends up blowing up, leaving you friendless and sexless, right? So we want to prevent that from happening by figuring out what you want and then protecting it. So, coffee time. Hang on. All right. So first thing, soak those 10 pink rose petals in 4 tablespoons of water for about 3 hours. You're going to smash the petals into rose water. You're going to add 2 tablespoons of honey using your mortar and pestle. You're going to let that pink rose paste sit. This also doubles, by the way, as a face mask, just so you guys know, for glamour work, for influence and persuasion and attraction. All right. The second thing, sit down, breathe deeply, meditate, do some yoga nidra, whatever is part of your practice when you're trying to connect to your higher self. Enter a calm mindset, break out that pen and paper. You're going to journal your feelings regarding your friends with benefits situation. Now, if you don't know where to start, just start writing. This could be a description of the current situation. For an example, John and I have been flocking on and off since college, and the dick is great, or something like that. Eventually the truth will come out in your writing. Just start writing anything and allow that truth to come through. Is this just a friend with great dick, right? Or do you want them to be your boyfriend? Cough it up out of your system, figure it out. Next, once you're being honest with yourself, write a letter of protection. This could be a letter to protect your friendship from the chaos that comes with dating and sex, or to protect your heart if feelings are involved. You're going to fold it 3 ways and place it in that envelope. You're going to seal the envelope by taking a dollop of that pink rose paste and pressing it down on the fold with your finger. Now, place that envelope somewhere to dry. And then on your bookshelf, or maybe under the bed, or wherever you kind of have your own secret stash location, hide it, right? You're going to hide it, and make sure you hide it well, you guys. I've gotten emails before where things have been found by their SOs and it did not go well. So act upon the realizations about the relationship during that journal exercise when you were writing your letter. Make sure your actions mirror the truth in your protective letter. Okay. So very simple, but definitely worth doing, right? All right. Exes be gone. Fucking exes. They're nightmares, right? So what you're going to need for this is just a simple black candle. The best time to cast this one, I would say, is the waning moon. So it's hard being so desired. Magical genitals are addictive, and that is true. There are people that will become addicted to your energy, especially if you're a practitioner. So I've experienced that. So not to break my arm, pat myself on the back, but it happens. So coupled with your amazing personality and hilarious sense of humor, it's no wonder some exes have trouble moving on. Poor things. We got to feel sorry for them, right? But they really do need to leave you alone so you can move on freely. So using the power of your will, you're going to banish exes who do not respect your decision to end the relationship and continue to meddle in your love life. Who's had an ex, by a show of hands, we're not in a live Zoom, that just won't go away, that's constantly liking posts on Facebook, sending you private messages on Instagram? It gets to be ridiculous, asking you questions they shouldn't be asking you, like, oh, what are those pictures you just posted of X, Y, and Z? It's none of your fucking business. It's none of your fucking business. That's what that is. And then you block them and they make another account and they start, oh, it's ridiculous. Anyway, here's the spell. First thing, take care of practical matters first. Are you on good terms with this person? Write them a text or an email letting them know that you want them, that, you got to be careful with this, because sometimes, I went back and forth when I was typing up this spell. You can tell, right? Because sometimes just emailing them opens a door. But I think if you're on good terms, go ahead, send them a text or an email. Let them know that friendship is best. And maybe in the cards someday there might be more, but right now you're ready to move on and you need them to leave you alone. Now, if they get hostile or don't respect your wishes, block them, unfollow them, do everything you can on your end to really sever that connection. Secondly, we don't always need an elaborate ritual for spells in general. I think people have this mindset that, for a spell or ritual to work, it has to be elaborate and blah, blah, blah. No, it's all about intent, right? It's all about dedication of energy. So for this, you've spent enough time on this person already, right? All you need is a simple black candle. You don't need to do anything crazy. It's going to absorb negative energy and then it's going to burn it away. All right. So you're going to hold your black candle and think about all your anger, your fears, your sorrows, your frustrations, your compassion too, and any and all emotions this ex brings up in you. And remember to breathe deeply while you're doing this. You're going to burn the candle, and when it's finished, the spell is complete. Now, you need to resist your own temptation to reach out to them. It'll pass. It's just like, when you're on a diet and you're having a craving for something sweet. If you ignore it long enough, it goes away. All right, a protection prayer for sex workers. I have been lucky enough. I have worked with many sex workers. I spent some time in Amsterdam in the red light district. I have spent some time in Vegas at the Chicken Ranch and Sherry's Ranch, and these women are amazing women, and they do provide an amazing service. And this is this is a business as old as time, people. I hate that people are judged for it. It's awful, but a protection prayer for sex workers. If you know a sex worker, if you just want to send some good energy to those individuals, if you yourself are a sex worker, what you're going to need is hopefully your altar. For this one, it's great if you have a little makeshift altar, an image of Saint Martha, who's right here on the right. I was trying to move my big head out of the way so you can see Saint Martha. If you have a ritual goblet, great. Red wine and flowers. Now, I just posted a little short video on my socials about wine and the magical properties of wine. So I put that, I think, on my TikTok, my Patreon, my YouTube, my Snapchat, and Instagram. But go to the YouTube. The full video is on the YouTube. It's towards the end of the video. I think it was like fun things to do for sewing, like for Halloween parties. And I talked about some goetics that people can work with this time of year. But near the end of that little video, I have a pop up on the screen and it breaks down all the different types of wine and all their magical properties. Use that list. Sorry, I didn't include it here. I apologize. All right, the best time to cast this, honestly, we always need this spell, right? Anybody who's in the sex work industry or has a friend in the sex work industry, anytime is a good time. So I think sex workers are holy and should be respected as such. Society does love sex workers. It's the oldest occupation for a reason. However, they end up being the butt of jokes. They're constantly fighting against, repressive legislation. They're at much higher risk for rape and violence, and they're not offered any protection. Okay, so they make the world go round. Okay, they make people happy. They, in my mind, they're healers. They're healing through sex magic. If you go back to ancient Egypt, I just did this a couple months ago when I was doing my presentation on sacred sexuality, talking about Isis, talking about the sex priestess temples, the sex priestesses. So this is, as old as time, you guys. Anyway, you can invoke Saint Martha, the Dominator, she's called, represented by the snake, to offer protection to sex workers. So yeah, and she is from the Bible. She's very down with witches, though, and especially sex workers. So, number one, not every spell involves setting something on fire. Listen, I know if you hired me as your third party caster, you probably see I use sacred fire a lot, but not always. I use sacred fire when I am casting for another person because that works best for me. But there's lots of ways to cast spells, and it doesn't have to include fire. So create this altar to Saint Martha for you or someone you know, or for sex workers' rights in general. You're going to place a photo of Saint Martha on your altar. She is frequently portrayed with the serpent. So use one of those photos or images. You want to keep that altar tidy and bring her lots of gifts. She likes the color red. She likes wine. She likes flowers. Fill that goblet with wine and place it on the altar next to Saint Martha, or offer her flowers if you can't afford wine. Go pick some flowers outside. There's no need to stick to a rigid schedule. You can honor her as you please, and it can be just a tiny little table. It doesn't have to be a huge altar, you guys, or a little corner of an altar that already exists. Where am I? Okay. Say the following prayer as an offering and protection spell. Saint Martha the Dominator, protector of those who serve, give protection to all sex workers and bathe those who seek to silence them with love to heal their hate. And again, you don't have to use exactly what I'm giving you. You can write your own dedication. I'm just kind of giving you an example of what would work well. Don't be a swerf. What's a swerf? A sex worker, exclusionary, or radical feminist. Okay, a woman who supports mainstream feminism but opposes sex work. I mean, it makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. So please don't be a swerve. Include sex workers in all feminist action. all feminist rights. Okay. I don't know why you wouldn't. I'm not going to get into that in here. All right. Detect lies. This is a good one. I know last month I had a few spells and rituals in there about detecting BS. I think I added a few more this month because 'tis the season for bullshit. Um, what you're going to need for this one is some tarot cards. It's more divinatory, I guess, than ritual, but best time to cast. Ideally, the meditation is performed daily, first thing in the morning. The only truly effective form of lie detection is healthy communication. However, witches can boost their psychic power through daily meditation, intuition, and healthy communication. So use it, boost those skills up, right? So, number one, each morning after you have your coffee and feel like a human being, grab your deck of cards and sit down somewhere quiet, close your eyes, and meditate for a few minutes while holding your deck. When you're ready, with your eyes still closed, begin shuffling the deck. Ask the cards, what do I need to know today? Stop shuffling and pull a card. Stare into it and let meaning arise within you. Remember that there is no tarot card to fear, okay? Not even the scary ones like the Tower. You know, the tarot in its entirety paints a portrait of the human experience. Each card is a slide of a life lesson we all experience at some point or another, okay? So don't ever get intimidated. Place the deck with the card you drew facing up on your altar or on your table, wherever you're doing it. Leave it there all day long. Throughout the day, notice how it pops up in your life. You know, this is all about awareness, right? I always say awareness is preparedness. Okay. All right. I'll leave it there all day long. See how it pops up during the day. Place the card back in the deck at the end of the day after reflecting on how it presented in your life. Now, performing this meditation daily will strongly increase your psychic skills and intuition. And if somebody is being dishonest with you, you're going to find out. It's going to also help you learn the tarot, really. It's going to teach you the tarot. So use all these skills to pick up on gut feelings when someone is being dishonest with you, okay, while grounding yourself to prevent paranoia. Oh, I see what I did. I kind of screwed up. You know what? I did not edit this well. I apologize. Number 6 is kind of embedded in there with number 5. So, tells of liars include giving vague, avoidant answers and grooming. However, the signs of lying are spotty. A much more effective way to get the truth out of someone is communication. Tell your partner you know you can always be honest with me. I'd always prefer the truth. We can talk and work through anything that arises like grown-ups. Our communication is very important to me as I want this relationship to work. You know, try that first. If you can't, you know, come visit me at Etsy or the main site or whatever, and we can do some loaded sheep or calf eyeball organ poppets to force it out if we need to. Anyway, moving on. If someone is acting suspicious, pull a card to glean insight into what's going on and then talk to them about it. If they refuse to communicate or be honest with you, trust your sharp witch intuition and dump that jerk. Seriously. Life is too short. It's too short. An amulet for legal protection. I actually just made one of these for somebody. Okay. So you're going to need a tarot deck, a white candle, sage, candle carving tools, and a necklace or charm of importance to you. So the last thing a witch wants to come home to is a subpoena. So talk about muggle problems, right? But it does happen, and so does divorce. And this is kind of geared towards divorce, but you could probably use it in a lot of other scenarios. You know, if we decide to report our rapists and they, you know, and fight back, you know, if we decide to report a nasty employer for a wrongful termination and we go after them with the Department of Labor, you know, we can't completely untangle ourselves from the legal system. And I think sometimes because of our practices, it's attracted to us. But with this ritual, we can work our witchy ways to seek justice and protection. So best time to cast is whenever the authorities get involved, right? IRS, whatever. So call a lawyer if you don't have one, or if you can't afford a lawyer, look into low-cost legal services in your area. A simple Google search should bring up results near you and get your muggle plans in place before you move on to your magic. Next, give yourself some time and space. Anything involving lawyers, police, judges is a capital S in my book. That's, you know, stress, right? It's stressful. Acknowledge that trauma. Eat some cake, have some good sex, take a bath, a spiritual bath, especially. Engage in all your favorite forms of self-care to just fill up your inner love tank, right? You're going to need a full tank for this. Using your favorite tarot deck, take out the Justice card. In the Rider-Waite deck, Justice is depicted as kind of like this androgynous figure. I can't talk today. Holding a sword and scales. Justice corresponds with Libra. Okay, that represents fairness, balance, and the workings of karma. So, invoking justice is a hex free way to regain your power when someone has wronged you. So, you're going to hold that card to meditate upon your situation and the desired outcome of that situation. Next, this always happens to me when I talk a lot. Okay. Sage your white candle, carve your name, zodiac symbol, and an image of the scales into it. Place it on your altar or whatever table you're using next to the Justice card. Light it up. During these stressful times, it is reassuring to wear an amulet of protection over your heart chakra. This amulet can be anything that makes you feel safe. It can be your grandmother's jewelry or a necklace you bought while traveling that brings up happy memories. So, in front of your altar, meditate holding your chosen amulet. Excuse me. Invoke the feelings of safety and confidence it inspires and visualize your desired outcome. Okay, keep the amulet on you during the legal proceedings until you feel called to take it off. Keep reaching out to friends, family, and your coven members for support. You know, have some extra snuggle time with your familiars. You're not alone. You know, you're going to reach the other side of this. I mean, you're a fucking witch. Of course you are. But it can be stressful. So use your support systems, use your support networks. Sexual health protection. Oh my God, these condoms. So when I was much younger, like in my 20s, I worked with this group of ladies and we used to have like these monthly gatherings. We would get together in a hotel room, and one year we did the condom fashion show. And so we broke up into two teams and we bought like this bulk, like thousands of condoms off eBay. And this again was years ago. And we each got half the box and we had to create an outfit out of condoms. And, you know, we picked one person in our group to be the model. And we basically used, you know, pins and clips and all this to create this condom outfit. And then they each did like a fashion show, like in their condom outfit. Oh my God, it was hilarious. And we had such a good time. But, you know, have fun is what I guess I'm saying. I miss the 20-ish-year-old me. I used to do some wild shit. Anyway, sexual health protection. You will need latex barriers such as condoms, dental dams, echinacea tincture, garlic tincture, lemon balm tincture, ginseng extract tincture, sambucas, elderberry syrup, and sage extract. Where do you get all this stuff? Well, out in Wisconsin, I would always get this stuff from Woodman's. Here in Minnesota, there's a couple of naturopathic shops. I don't know. Your best bet might be internet. Some of this stuff, internet probably. Best time to cast during your slutty phase. We all have one. It's fine. So it's an herbal blend to boost immunity during periods when you find yourself kissing many toads. This blend, in conjunction with safer sex practices such as latex barriers and regular STI testing, will keep you on the right track. All right. So, number one, congratulations on being slutty and single. Enjoy every second of it. There is no shame in STIs. And all of them, even HIV, are manageable today. Most of us don't go collecting viruses. So your first step, go get tested, know your status, take care of what you need to take care of, and stock up on free condoms and dental dams. Number two, hold your potential lovers to the same standard that you hold yourself, right? Say, hey, I just got tested. What about you? Number three, always use latex barriers and continue getting tested regularly, roughly every 6 months if you're living your full slut truth, because that's what I was doing. If you come down with something or fear that you have, go to your doctor or your local clinic right away. You know, get on top of it. Number four, today, being a witch means utilizing both the modern and wise woman tools at our disposal. So there's evidence to suggest that echinacea, garlic, sambuca, elderberry, ginseng, lemon bulb, and sage all contain antiviral and immune boosting properties. So you're going to mix those 4 tinctures, which are alcohol based. And I would do like once you mix those, maybe one drop under your tongue before a date. I kind of went back and forth between 1 and 3 drops. I think one drop should suffice. Um, right under the tongue before a date. Brush your teeth to remove that garlic breath smell, because that can be off-putting. Keep the syrup, which is delicious, and it's also very healing. Keep it around, keep it available, and take a I can't talk. Tablespoon. Take a tablespoon whenever you please. I would say take a tablespoon every new moon, just as kind of an amplifier. Remember that sage is not just for cleansing your home. While capsules and dried herbs are better than nothing, most herbalists agree that tinctures are the best method of effective delivery. So, dosing yourself with some antivirals is just a really good habit to get into. All right. I hope I'm not being preachy today. I just think it's important that we're all, safe. All right. Burying secrets. This is fun. All right, you're going to need pen and paper, mason jar, some Palo Santo, honey, and somewhere to bury the jar. The best time to cast waning moon for this one. Okay, so after sex or over dinner, perhaps after a bottle of wine magic, you guys, we end up sharing secrets with our partners, right? And it's an exchange of intimacy. It brings us closer. Um, it's a bold and applaudable move. However, sometimes anxiety kicks in. Does he really need to know about that time I tried to commit myself to a mental institution, right? You're not together anymore, but that person still knows what you've done. Maybe wasted inside of a taxi on, remember you guys, do you remember Showtime? I don't think Showtime exists anymore. It was a pay network, and they used to have way back like late 90s. It was called Taxi Cab Confessions. Oh my God, it was amazing. Google it. Anyway, whatever your intimate information, it can become worrisome after a breakup, right? So you want to literally bury that secret to signify not only the end of the relationship, but to give you some peace of mind, right? So number one, write down all the secrets you shared on a piece of paper. RIP them, rip them up one by one, fold them up and place them in your jar. Once the jar is filled, light the Palo Santo. The cleansing smoke of this holy wood is not only used to purify and remove your fear around these secrets, but it acts as a confidence booster. That sacred smell can really help calm you and remind you that even your darkest secrets are nothing to be ashamed of. All right, so hold that Palo Santo in the jar and fill it up. Warm up some honey and drizzle it into the jar. In this case, the honey is used to sweeten your secrets and comfort you. Even if your ex told every secret of yours to the world, you still would be okay. You've already survived the worst part. At night, when no one can see you, bury your jar. If you don't have access to dirt locally, you can also drop it into a body of water. Your secrets are always going to be safe with nature. It's going to be very freeing. If you use water, I always say, a moving body of water. You want movement. You don't want like a stagnant creek or something like that. Okay. You need it to move. Act on red flags. Boy, this is good advice for me too. You're going to need a journal and a pen. So, ongoing red flags are warning signs that someone may not be a good fit for you as a new partner, right? These are easy to ignore, though, especially while we're in that new relationship high, right? So, I want you to keep a journal of your dating patterns and partners and follow those. This is an invitation, really, this spell, to get brutally honest with yourself, call in strength from your guides, and act on red flags rather than ignoring them until they fester, right? So, number one, sit cross-legged and begin deep breathing. Continue until a calm meditative state arises. Acknowledge all thoughts like falling leaves, I like to say. Write down your new lover's red flags in the journal. It may be their ex, their political views, a history of cheating, unresolved trauma, whatever it is, write it down. You don't have to end things, okay? But you do have to be aware of what you're getting into. How does acknowledging the red flags make you feel? If you want to go running, ask yourself if you could live with that feeling, right? Usually my first response is, get out of this, right? How would you feel about just ending things? You don't have to act right now. Just say a prayer to your guides, ask for wisdom, and I think wisdom and intuitive help in knowing what is right is going to come to you. You might look at that list and scroll, I fucking love you underneath it because it doesn't matter. Just you got to trust yourself, right? So I put a witch note here. Be aware of red flags, write them down. If you're happy, it doesn't have to end. There are always exceptions, and opposites do attract. But you want to call on your dating guides to protect you. Again, I like the red and black tiaras. They are deidal associations used in dating. So maybe, get familiar with them. You can solicit them for guidance. All right. Ooh, what's this one? Oops. This one is called Erect Boundaries. I keep moving myself. I don't know why I get into this. Okay. All right. Erect boundaries. So for this one, you're going to need salt, a journal, a pen. Excuse me. The best time to cast when you're feeling overwhelmed and trying to balance work, friendship, and romance. And that can be, you know, you need to keep your sanity intact, right? And it can be hard if you don't have boundaries. I talk about this with my clients all the time. Boundaries are a requirement for friendships, romantic relationships, for work relationships. You have to have boundaries. So, what I want you to do, sprinkle salt clockwise in a circle on the ground large enough for you to sit in. As you do, think of your relationship and say, these boundaries only serve to protect my relationship with whatever their name is. Now, sit inside the salt circle with your journal and pen. I want you to close your eyes and visualize yourself as a whole independent being. Because in relationships, you guys, it's easy to merge with the other person and lose our own identity. So we want to preserve ourselves and the other areas of our life so that we can stand tall next to our partner, like two trees. Like that's why I have this picture here of the two trees next to each other. So next, what else exists within your precious circle here? Maybe it's social media stalking that's getting you down, right? Knock it off. You want to stop that, right? Maybe your friendships are crucial as okay. I talk about friendships in a minute, but listen, friendships are crucial. They're crucial as they provide a support system for you separate from your partner. So you need to have that. Now, you need to have the right people in that circle, you guys. I guess that's the caveat there, right? So your friendships are crucial. Make sure they're the right kind of friendships because that is your support system separate from that partnership. They're what prevents you from leaning into that relationship entirely, right? You don't have to rely on that romantic partner entirely if you have the right friends around you. And you are going to need alone time. You can't be with your partner 24/7. You have to recharge your batteries. And you do that usually with your friends, right? That energetic exchange. Anyways, jot down everything you wish to protect as you enter into a union with another person, basically. And I think those things should be on your list. When you're finished, open your eyes. Remember, having boundaries and a separate life from your partner strengthens the relationship. And then return to your salt circle whenever you need to recharge your independence. Sometimes I go on tangents. I apologize. Ooh, I gotta move myself again. All right, I love this one because boy, I don't know what dating apps are popular nowadays. I feel like all of them. The one that I had the most success on was Meet Me, and it was like a dirty whore dating app site. But I had fun when I used Meet Me. It was like dirty whore fun, but fun. Anyway, moving on. Stay safe on dating apps. All right, you're gonna need your phone, a pouch, condoms, lube packets, a phone charger, makeup removing wipes, pepper spray, or another small weapon that won't get you arrested. The best time to cast this one is basically we're creating an on the go kit so that when you match with somebody and you want to meet them in real life and maybe even play around with them, you have this ready to go. So I would just make it and have it ready to go for any time. So dating apps are a good thing. You can meet and fuck fascinating and sexy people who you may have never connected with otherwise. However, there are also scammers and murderers, so you want to use these tools and tips to stay safe while you're swiping. Number one, make the background of your phone an image evoking basically what you wish to attract. Maybe that's an image of the lover's tarot card. Maybe it's David Bowie. Maybe it's red roses. Maybe you're like Victorian Renaissance love. Whatever you want to attract, make that your screensaver. Number two, start swiping. Don't be afraid to message first. Everybody's like swipe like, and they just sit there and wait for that person to see it and talk to them. No, show the initiative. Number three, put together a little pouch or sleep bag, okay? So there is magic in the mundane, you guys. So keep condoms, lube, a phone charger, those makeup removing wipes. You need them in your bag to have with you for any potential sleepovers. Keep it in your trunk. Keep it, in your glove box, whatever. Next, add a pepper spray or another safety precaution like a little taser that you can't harm yourself with to fight off monsters should the worst come true. This is important. Two funny things. Well, one funny thing, one scary thing. Pepper spray. Back in the late 90s, I was going to college full time, and I had got pepper spray to keep on me, because I was by myself, had just left home, and it was my freshman year. And it was kept in this little like button clasp thing. Well, I grabbed it the wrong way, and I didn't, my finger touched the nozzle. Well, I didn't think anything of it. So what? It wasn't wet or anything like that. I hadn't used it. Well, I ended up touching my face or something after that, not realizing, and I had a reaction. So be careful with pepper spray. I don't think they make them like that anymore, but back in the late 90s, they were not real safe. I mean, I fucked myself up, and I didn't even, it was just by touching the nozzle, and there was like a dry powder or something on it. I would go taser. I bought both my girls, Maddie and Lainey, tasers. When Madison moved out and she moved onto campus at UW Whitewater and she was living in the dorms, that was one of the first things I got for her was a taser. She was one of the youngest kids there. She started there when she was 17 because she graduated at 17. And I wanted her to be safe. I think Lainey, I bought her a taser one year for Christmas because she goes to the gym. She's a gym rat, right? She's a gym witch. And she goes late. Sometimes she doesn't leave Planet Fitness until, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. She does her workouts late. And, there were weirdos there in the parking lot of the strip mall that place was at. So I know I got her that for that purpose. Anyways, that's the funny story. Just be careful with those things. And the only time the girls have used the tasers were at like our Halloween parties where they, were drinking and tasing each other or their friends to see what would happen. So don't do that either, you guys. All right. It was actually a game, like who could take the strongest tase. They got a prize or something. It was like a Starbucks gift card. Scary story. I know we're in the middle of me explaining a spell, but I want to tell you a number of years ago, I want to say, was it 2018, 2019? I had been talking to somebody I met on a dating app, Meet Me. Meet Me was wonderful, but there was a few weirdos on there. And, the video chatting, I felt very comfortable. I went to go meet this person, and I will tell you that I probably almost died. I'm very intuitive, and I wasn't listening to my intuition. I got to this person's house as I walked up on their porch, and they had the door open, and they lived in an upper lower. So it was like a Victorian house, and he lived upstairs and somebody else lived downstairs. And as I was looking up the stairs, and he was standing there, there was a feeling that washed over me. And we need to listen to those feelings. I minimize them sometimes too, and I shouldn't. And I'll tell you what happened is I seen the cat. He had a cat, a white cat sitting at the top of the stairs. And for some reason, that cat made me feel safe. And I thought, okay, I'm overreacting. I went up the stairs. As I came into the living room, I noticed a door. You come up the stairs, you go right in the living room. There was a door in the wall on the right that had a padlock on it. I thought that was weird. I knew that he had had a daughter who had some developmental disabilities, and I know he had mentioned, sleep eating and things like that. So I figured that's maybe he locked her at night, which I don't think that's cool, but maybe it was for her own protection. So she wasn't going to the fridge at night. So I thought, no biggie. I followed him. He was walking in front of me, which I kind of thought was weird. And again, I was following him. That cat was right there, right? And I'm like, oh, this cat, this is it's a safe environment. This cat would not be here if it was not safe. So I followed him to the living room and we came into the kitchen and I froze. Um, it was almost like I want to say my ancestors or a deital intervention like grabbed me, like grabbed my soul, right? And I couldn't move. And as I stood there in that doorway, I was looking into the kitchen and there was a hall to my left. First thing, there were cockroaches all over the wall flying around. I mean, there had been 1,000 of them. I've never seen anything like that. And I've done cleansing, spiritual cleansings in houses that were not in ideal areas. And they had roaches, but not to this degree. So there was that shock, the sound of it, the smell of it. But as I looked to my left, again, kitchen, hall, he was standing in the hall and he had a door open and he was motioning me to follow him. You guys, on the outside of this door, I shit you not, was 5 or 6 padlocks on the outside of the door. 5 or 6 like chain locks, not padlocks, the knob locks. It was just deadbolts, deadbolts. That's what they're called. So all these deadbolts and chain locks on the outside, not the inside. And he's holding this door open. He's standing, partly with the doors kind of covering him, but he's part in the hall and he's like smiling, like, oh, come on. Dude, I fucking ran so fast and I'm not a runner. So my spirit team, I mean, was like, run, 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 run. So I turned, I ran back, ran down the stairs, ran outside. I had parked probably 3 or 4 blocks away and uphill. And that's because there was no parking. So it was in the city in Milwaukee. And so I literally ran 3 or 4 blocks up fucking hill, you guys. I got back to my car. I didn't even look behind me. And I don't know if you guys have ever been so scared that you lose muscle control. I was shaking so bad. I was so scared and shaking so bad. I had no muscle control. So as I'm trying to dig my keys out of my purse to unlock my car, I couldn't grasp. I couldn't hold on to things. I had to literally drop my purse on the ground, scoop up the keys with my palm and then just shove them in there and try to I finally got in my car, but I had no muscle control, no muscle coordination. That's how scared I was. That's how much adrenaline was in my system. And then I drove off, but holy fuck. I I met that guy on a dating app. Meet me. Anyway, I survived, but I think had my spirit team not intervened, I would have been close enough for him to grab, Anyway, let's talk about this spell. All right. So make the background. Oh, we already did this. Add pepper spray we talked about. Okay, so number 5, there is nothing morally wrong with fucking on the first date. However, more than one date does help you sniff someone out, so consider waiting a few dates to go home with someone desirable out of precaution, not purity. It's precaution. Lastly, if the best comes true and you meet someone, don't freak out that it happened on a dating app. Just enjoy it, right? Dating apps. I married somebody I met on a dating app. We were together for 24, 25 years. I mean, so all right. A tarot spread to reveal secrets. I know this is very similar sounding to the lie detection one, but it's a little bit different. So you're going to need a tarot deck. The best time to cast is kind of when your spidey senses are tingling that something is up. After a meditation for psychic strength, use this tarot spread to reveal the truth behind a situation that is alerting your witch instincts. So sit in front of your altar or on your bed, light candles, place your tarot deck to your right. I'm sorry, this is my right. I think to you it's my left, but it's to the right. Close your eyes, breathe naturally for as long as you like, and trust yourself. The more you meditate, the more you will sharpen your psychic abilities. We talked about this earlier. So if your intuition is telling you that something is wrong, you need to listen to it. I didn't listen to it when I followed Jude up the stairs, right? Because that cat tricked me. That was a trickster cat. All right. Do you suspect someone is cheating? Sitting in a meditative state with the prompt, I know you already know the answer, tap into it because you're asking your higher self to let you know. When you're ready, spread your tarot cards in a half moon in front of you, hover your hand over them, and pull 3 cards that speak to you. Sometimes these three card spreads represent the past, present, and future, but you don't need to stick to hard categories here for this ritual. It's about intention rather than recipe. Okay, so get away from that recipe thing. Use the cards as a tool of reflection, right? Rather than divination. So you already know what's going on. Stare at the cards until it's reflected back to you. As useful as tarot and meditation can be, we still must apply our witch tools in conjunction with the real world, right? So employ this ritual as a confidence boost to ask that person ask them a direct question, what's up? Don't accuse them. Don't tell them what your tarot cards were, that you pulled cards, but, ideally in person, tell them something feels off. It's unhealthy to be playing guessing games. Um, to stimulate that conversation. Even with, all the spell work in the world, you guys, a healthy relationship is impossible without communication. Okay. Without communication, it doesn't matter what kind of spells you're doing. All right. Moving on. Hex your rapist. I've done several of these. My favorite hex tool on rapists or anything to do with SA is the shitstorm. That is where I take a liver and I load it on up, and it's a loaded organ poppet. It is one of the best conjure devices for hexing a rapist. Anyway, moving on. You're going to need a piece of paper, pen, mason jars, nails. I like the really long carpenter nails. If you have a cat, cat litter is great. Used cat litter. Some pepper, any pepper. I like ghost pepper. I mean, you can buy this pepper, any pepper that you want, but I really do like ghost pepper. Vinegar, and even your own urine, if you would like. Best time to cast whenever the fuck you want. So, surviving rape justifies a full-on hex. Put your rapist into a jar filled with vinegar and these other ingredients, and then toss them into a body of water to ensure that what goes around comes around. Again, make sure it's a moving body of water, not stagnant water. So, number one, take care of your non-magical self first, right? Get a therapist who has experience working with survivors. It doesn't have to be a mainstream medical. There's spiritual therapists on here. Join a group. Make sure your family and close friends know what's happening, and work with them and your therapist to ensure you have all the care you need, because you deserve nothing less. Next, write your rapist's name on a piece of paper. You can also print out their photo. Understandably, not everyone wants to look at their person, but do what feels right. Crumble up that little shit's name or photo and stuff it in the jar. Toss nails in the jar. Put cat piss and shit in there. All right. Put your own piss in there. Anything disgusting, it's your hex. What do you want to put in the jar? Shit in the jar. I don't care. All right. Toss in that pepper. I like ghost pepper, but again, you can use any variety of pepper. So pepper is used to banish people, right? It can also be used in cross conditioning people. So fill it up to the top with vinegar, or again, you can piss in it or half and half. Don't use any of that fancy mint vinegar bullshit either. Use like that old, like dollar store fucking vinegar. All right, screw the lid on tight and toss the jar into a body of water. And if a body of water is unavailable, you can leave it at a crossroads as well. If you're going to do crossroads, I would talk to Hecate, Papa Legba. I would maybe do some deidal solicitation for support, depending on your spiritual belief system and what path you follow. All right. Put your partner's pesky exes in their place. Very similar. We did a spell earlier. We talked about, about exes, but now we're talking about your partner's ex, not your ex. All right. For this, you're going to need 9 fruits in a bag. And the best time to cast this is the waning moon. All right. So sometimes it's not our partner or even our ex who is bothering us. Sometimes their exes or friends seem insistent on ensuring your life is held together. So you want to absorb the adverse effects of these people. I refer to it as sourcing. If you do readings with me, I'll call it sourcing. So you want to absorb the adverse effects that these people have on your connection with fruit. And then you're going to leave that fruit at the gates of a cemetery to put to rest their influence. You're going to sever that influence and persuasion. Now, number one, is your partner's ex haunting you? Are they popping up in your mind? Maybe they're projecting, they're fixating on you. Even worse, are they causing trouble between you and your partner? Sorry, bitch, they're mine now. So let's get rid of this annoying ex. We need to get them to leave us alone, right? And put them where they belong, which is in a goddamn cemetery. Now, what I want you to do, oh shit. Can you guys see this, or am I blocking you from being able to see this? I hope you can see this because there was a little box there. All right, so number 2, strip naked. Think of your partner's ex. Think of all their meddling and annoying behavior. Get mad. Let your blood boil with all the reasons that you hate them. Scream if you want to. Don't hold back. That's a lot of energy. Scream. That's beautiful energy. Next, take your 9 fruits and I want you to rub them all over your body. One by one, they are not just fruits from the grocery store. They are magical sponges soaking up all that toxicity, all that toxic energy. So as you rub a fruit over your body, let it soak up all the hate you feel for this person. Let it absorb any power they have over you or within your relationship. Okay, place that used fruit to the side in a bag. Get dressed, go place the fruits at the cemetery gates, leave them there. Do not look back once you walk away. It's just like with bath water, you guys. If you do a spirit bath, you should be saving a cup of your bath water, going to a crossroads or cemetery gates, and you should be releasing that over your right shoulder. Just dump it and then walk away without looking back. Now, you can drop 9 pennies there. If you're at cemetery gates, I would drop 9 pennies there, but don't look at them. Just drop them and walk. Same thing with this, okay? You're going to not look back once you walk away from those gates. Now, when you get home, take a shower to wash off any remaining energetic residue and relax. Why should you not look back? I have people ask me that. Like, I think in their mind, they think like if they look back, like, a devil or a demon or a spirit's gonna, be there. That's not it. You do not want energetic residue. So when you look back at something, you just fed it energy. So that means you might have hitchhiker energy coming back with you. So if you don't look at it, you don't look back, all that energy, there's no way for it to jump onto you. There's no way for it to create a hitchhiker scenario. All right. Connect with friends. I like this one. Friends are so important. We were talking about that earlier, right? Connect with friends. For this, you're going to need yellow flowers, newspaper, a candle carving tool, a yellow candle, and your phone. So best time to cast right now, really anytime. You need human contact. So do this during the day. Lean into your friendships for support and love rather than make your entire world about dating, okay, and sex. This ritual uses yellow flowers and oh gosh, I keep having these boxes and I don't want you guys to not see this. Okay, so this ritual is going to use yellow flowers and human contact to care for the platonic loves of our lives, right? Because those are just as important, if not more so. Let me make me a little bit smaller here so that you guys can see. All right, so buy yourself yellow flowers, yellow roses, carnations, marigolds, daisies, daffodils, whatever you like. Honey yellow does signify friendship and the sun, which represents life and abundance and joy. So everything that friends can give you and much more reliably than a romantic partner. Place them in your home simply to brighten your mood. Now lay out your newspaper, sit with your candle and candle carving tools and sunlight. Carve a symbol or sign into the candle, okay? Add the names of your friends, put as many as you want on there, add anyone who you're grateful for. As far as symbols and signs, anything that calls to you, okay? That's why I didn't give an example. I just thought to myself, why didn't I give an example? You can just make a sigil up right there on the spot. Make it your friendship sigil. Place the candle on your altar or table and light it. Call, text, or email every name you carved into that candle and ask them how they're doing. Make plans for dinner. Put it on your calendar so you don't forget. Do not cancel plans. We cannot place the burden of being responsible for our joy all on our romantic partnership. Okay? Maintaining friendships, again, it is a crucial part of your survival in this life, right? We need people to bridge to and to be there for us when things fall apart in our romantic life. So you need your friend group. Take care of it. All right, moving on. I don't want to keep beating that bush. Trust issues. Well, who doesn't have those? So for this ritual, you're going to need a journal and pen and a chunk of rose quartz. Best time to cast whenever you're ready to acknowledge that your current partner may not be the reason that you're so paranoid. I want you to practice this journaling ritual to identify and then address trust issues created from your past trauma that get in the way of accepting deserved love into your life. Number one, how are trust issues currently manifesting in your life? Grab your journal and pen and get ready to kind of drag yourself through it, right? Write down everything that makes you feel distrustful. Your list could include maybe they still love their ex, or his mom hates you. So obviously he's going to dump you. Or maybe you think you're too crazy, so that person's going to leave you. Whatever that is, just don't judge it, just write it down. Next, examine what you wrote. Now, I want you to write down the real reasons behind these trust concerns. Has your partner indicated that they still love their ex, or are you just insecure because that ex has more money than you? So, what if his mom hates you? Is he a pussy like your ex who did what his parents wanted him to do, or, because they had money? Or is this guy his own person? Ask yourself these questions. Number three, now create a third and final list, okay, of all the evidence your partner is trustworthy. Perhaps you want to begin with they put up with your bullshit on that list, your bullshit trust issues. That should be number one. Okay, put your notebook down, grab your rose quartz, hold it in your heart or in your hand to your heart. I'm sorry. Close your eyes, meditate on all the ways you are loved. Let the healing crystal kind of soak up those nasty thoughts that say you're undeserving of love. Let it pull that out of you. And then lastly, I want you to call up your partner and tell them how much you appreciate them. Okay, so this is about you and your bullshit. Work through it. Do your shadow work, you guys. Do your shadow work. If you go to my YouTube, I think the very first sacred sexuality video I did was golden shadow work. Go work on your golden shadow. All right. All right, this is a fun one. Stop contacting your ex. This is a bed cleansing ritual. So what you're going to need, face packs and chocolate. All right, best time to cast ASAP. You're embarrassing yourself. I have fun with some of these, okay? Breakups are severely traumatic. You lost someone, okay? There's no overestimating the pain of what you're experiencing. But emailing, texting, or calling your ex is not the solution, so stop it. Seriously, okay? Is there a chance of reconciliation? I mean, I don't know, but I do know that now is not the time, that everyone needs time to heal, and that heartbreak is not sexy. So here's how to stop contacting your ex, okay? Number one, get those serotonin levels up. I just did a video on gym witchery. It was part of our Muse series. It was for Terpsy. So look at that video. There's some great ways to get your serotonin levels up through gym witchery. Number two, bed cleansing ritual. You're going to need some Palo Santo, some new sheets. I went over this last month and I'm going over it again. Some pink roses, a small spray bottle, and water. And I want you to begin the spell during the waning moon phase and put on your new sheets on the first day of the new moon, okay? Get rid of those old sheets that are covered in the DNA of your past partner, right? This ritual is going to allow you to work within your budget to cleanse your bed of that ex residue and create like a love nest that kind of incites excitement for the future and self-satisfaction. So I want you to light your Palo Santo and I screwed up. I did not spell check. I apologize. Solo Panto. I don't know what that is, but light it and wave that cleansing smoke throughout your bedroom, concentrating over the bed. All right, so you have your new sheets. It's worth the cost. I would follow your bedroom's current color scheme or select new ones based on color magic. Use color magic if you want. Blue usually brings tranquility and peace. Red promotes passion. Pink is like a kind of self-love. I would make your own holy rose water at this point, right? Pick up some of those pink roses. Pink represents love, but is kind and gentle, right? Pink's mixture of sexy and sweet is really perfect in terms of potion making to kind of bless, especially a bed, especially bed sheets, okay? So pluck off at least 6 pink rose petals and place them in that small spray bottle. Fill it up with water, and before putting the top of the bed, before putting the top of the, I can't talk, the spray bottle, before you, what is this? Where you screw it back in. You know what I mean? Anyway, I've been talking too long. You guys know I get loopy after it's had to have been at least an hour. I'm getting loopy. All right, before you close the top, I want you to whisper love, honor, respect into the water so it can carry these gifts, which you are wholly deserving of, into your new bed sheets, right? Um, and I went over this last month, so this is kind of a repeater, but I think it's important that we do this to help cut that cord. Now, on the first day of a new moon, a day of new beginnings, throw out those old sheets and put on the fresh ones. Like I said, spritz the holy rose water on the sheets and then climb into your bed. And I would masturbate to consummate that space. That's part of sex magic, consummation. So, all right. I hope we're almost done because I think I'm getting a little loopy, you guys. Not that I don't love doing these, but holy shit. Oops. Okay, let me move my box again. We all know who this is. This is our Kali Ma. All right, so protection prayer for sexual assault survivors. Um, you will need a statue or drawing of the dark mother goddess Kali. She's right here on the left. I love Kali. I work with her frequently. A red candle, wine, or menstrual blood. Again, there are associations for magic with different wines. Check that post out. I do favor menstrual blood, however. The best time to cast when you wish to send a survivor strength. So you're going to invoke the demon slaying power of the mother goddess Kali, honor all sexual assault survivors, and protect them from the cruelness of society as they live day to day with bravery. So, first, obtain a statue or drawing of Kali, the Hindu goddess, is a dark mother. She slays demons, she gets angry, she kills, she protects. She consumes what she desires. She is holy, she is loving, she is fierce. She is a complicated goddess who understands the complexities of sexual assault in ways mainstream American society does not. Place an image of her in your home for protection and strength. Excuse me. Kali enjoys blood offerings, so dress your red candle in either menstrual blood or red wine. Lastly, light the candle, and as you watch it burn bright, it's going to burn bright red probably, right? Say the name of survivors you wish to protect. This can be you, a friend, maybe a celebrity, whoever. I want you to state thank you, the name of the person, for your strength. I honor you. Kali loves and protects us all, and repeat as many names as you wish. Very simple, very effective. Okay, so someone cheated. I think we did a cheating spell last month too. I can't remember though. Let me move these damn boxes. Okay, what you're gonna need: sage, passion flower tea, 4 white candles, a tarot deck, adrenaline, pen, and a friend. Best time to cast. Cheating can cause heartache beyond imagining, so cast the spell whenever you need it. Cheating can feel like a literal stab in the heart. In addition to pain, cheating also brings up confusion. Why did they cheat? Is the relationship over? Are they truly sorry? Was it just sex? Or is there romance at stake? You know, how you decide to handle cheating, of course, is up to you. There's no wrong or right answer here. This spell simply helps provide clarity. Okay. While you can do this spell alone, if you have a friend you trust and you would like some company for this one, invite them over. Sometimes you need somebody to lean into for these kinds of works because there is pain involved. I mean, I gotta hit up some coffee here, you guys. All right. Sage your entire home. The cheater was in there, likely lying and crying about bullshit. So let's get rid of that nasty energy. Brew a cup of passion flower tea. It's an herb that's associated with love that has profound relaxing effects. I want you to sip on it throughout the ritual to invoke and ingest love and calm. Next, place a white candle at each corner of your bed. Purify your sacred sex space. Next, shuffle your tarot deck while sitting in bed. And when you feel ready, I want you to spread out the cards, in that half moon shape again in front of you. So let's get some insight. Keep your journal and pen nearby for notes or have your friend take notes. Ask the cards why they cheated. Intuitively pull 3 cards relating to the affair. And this one, I want you to kind of look at past, present, and future. I want you to gaze at the cards and reflect on their desires and motivations because people cheat for a plethora of reasons. There's no handbook for this, right? Only you and your intuition. So, what was their motivation to cheat? Past, present, and future. What was their desire, their intent? Now, pull another three cards, past, present, and future, for your relationship. Sit with those cards for as long as you like. What's going to happen? What should happen? Write down any thoughts, insights, questions, or revelations. The tarot is sacred, but it is a better mirror than mind reader. So remember that, okay? Ask your partner the same questions you ask the tarot. Take your time, be honest, require that your partner is equally honest. You know in your heart what the right move is. Trust that it will come to you and remember how strong you are. This can be a very painful exercise, but worth doing. Oh, here's a fun one. Purify your pussy, sage your cock, especially if there's been cheating, you guys, right? Especially. You're going to need sage. Best time to cast new moon. They say that you can't unsuck a cock, but such a statement is clearly intended for muggles. So I want you to use this quick ritual to sage your genitals and all your flock holes as you would your home, right? After a breakup or if somebody cheated. Sorry. Look, get totally naked. That's number one. Number two, I want you to light some sage and smoke your genitals, your mouth, anywhere that X has been energetically clinging to. Do not hold the burning sage directly on your skin. I shouldn't have to tell you guys that, but I'm gonna just in case. I don't want anybody burning themselves. I want you to fan the smoke lightly around the area. Okay. Don't burn yourself. All right. Number three. Bye-bye. Time to meet some new DNA. Oh my God, I have so much fun making these. All right, let's see what's next. Bathe in your enemy's blood. I was on a roll when I was making this, huh? I must have been in a pissy mood. Let's see. What are you gonna need? Black latex gloves, mortar and pestle, dragon's blood, baking soda, citric acid, Epsom salts, cornstarch, coconut oil, red food dye, mixing bowls, measuring cups and spoons, a whisk, a bath bomb blah, 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 mold, or a muffin tin works too, and cannabis. I was going to say, I know I had some cannabis in here last month. Half my damn spells involved cannabis. Okay. Or mugwort. All right. So, best time to cast when you have a few hours to kill and don't mind getting messy. So, fuck the haters. I don't care if it's your ex, someone at work, your partner's judgmental mother. They do not deserve to distract you from your best life. So, I want you to follow this ritual to ceremoniously bathe in their blood and exert your power over them by letting that shit go. All right, number one, you got to make the bath bomb. So put on your black gloves. You're going to get messy. I mean, any gloves will work, but I like black gloves when you're making stuff like this. They look dominant. They're sexy. All right, number two. I have three fingers up. Boy, my counting's even off. Get out your mortar and pestle and your dragon's blood. Dragon's blood is naturally, it's a red plant resin. So it's used to increase potency in spells most often. So I want you to take 2 or 3 chunks and kind of grind them down into a powder. Next, combine 1 cup of the baking soda with a half cup of that citric acid. Okay, a half cup of Epsom salts, a half cup of cornstarch, and your ground dragon's blood. Okay, you're going to ground all that together in a mixing bowl. Mix it all together. Now, in a separate bowl, you guys, I want you to combine 2 tablespoons of warm room temperature coconut oil. You don't just want it to be solid, okay? All right, you want 1 teaspoon water, 10 drops of red food dye. I don't want to hear any bullshit about dye. The dragon's blood is going to make your mixture red on its own. So I guess if you prefer your bath bomb all natural, stick with dragon's blood. But if you don't care about dyes and you want your bath to be as bloody as possible, go for the added dye. I always do. I like the extra bloody effect. Okay. All right. Slowly drizzle the wet mixture into the dry while continuously whisking. Okay, so the consistency should be like crumbly sand. Okay, not too wet, or the bomb will start going off before you're ready for it. Next, I want you to tightly pack that mixture into that bath bomb mold. You want it really, really tight. So you're going to let it form overnight. Now, the next day, Gently crack it open the next day. Tap it around the edges using a spoon if it doesn't want to come out, but don't, not too hard or you'll break it. Sometimes you gotta, it takes a few runs to get the hang of this, okay? Now, for the bath, if you partake in cannabis, please get high to expand your mind as much as possible. Next, draw a bath. Make it hot. Drop the bath bomb into the tub and watch it go off, swirling and rolling around the water, turning it bright red with the blood of your enemies, right? Lie back and avenge yourself, right? You won. You're bathing in their blood. So this is funny. I said, do you have to pee? Pee in the bath to further dominate your dead enemies. I know that sounds gross, but that actually is old powwow Dutch, Appalachia, and Southern conjure tradition is to piss in the bath or to piss in your mop bucket before you mop your floors. Google that shit. Now, once you feel relaxed enough to no longer give a shit about your enemies, get out of the tub, drain the water, and if you do have like a ring around, a red ring around the tub, just use a very light bleach spray. That's going to remove that red residue, okay? Believe me, I know. All right. What's this one? A ritual to recover from gaslighting. So you're going to need your favorite costume clothing, makeup, whatever makes you feel confident, a pillow, and a mirror. Best time to cast whenever you need an ego boost. So gaslighting is a technique in which the abuser makes you doubt the validity of your own thoughts. They may tell you that you're crazy. They may twist the truth about the past or use other manipulation tactics to try and dominate your irrational thoughts. The goal is to control you by making you feel small. So if you've ever been through it, you probably need a lot of self-love and to get that self-esteem back to where it should be. So, number one, I am sorry that someone gaslighted you. It is horrifyingly painful and damaging to question your own thoughts and your own sanity. So give yourself a hug for getting out of the situation. Next, get dressed up, do your makeup. Yes, you can go out and party later, or you can just do a solo Netflix and chill night in by yourself. The goal is to feel sexy as fuck. Next, let's remove some of that anger. First, scream at the top of your lungs. If you're worried about neighbors hearing you, use that pillow. Scream into the pillow. Next, if you really filled up that pillow with rage, I want you to throw it out. Don't keep the pillow. If it's not budget friendly to do that, at least wash the case of the pillow, something. Get that energy out of there. Okay, next, I want you to look in the mirror. I want you to see how beautiful you are. You know, you are an angel from heaven that we do not deserve. You stare into your own gorgeous eyes and say the incantation, I'm right. Repeat it over and over as needed. If your abuser ever reaches out, feel free to block them and reply, fuck you, and then block them again. Use I'm right like it's your fucking mantra. Get a tattoo of it somewhere on your body. Okay? Seriously. Ooh, somebody's cooking something. I don't know. I can smell it. It smells so good. All right, removing cynicism. I should really pay attention to this one. I can be a cynic sometimes. I love this photo too. It's Kali Ma, but look at the representation of her. Didn't they do a good job? I love that photo. Anyway, you're going to need the devil card from the tarot, newspaper, a 7-day white pull-out candle, some clearage incense. You can use the same stuff I told you to get early on in one of the other spells. A ritual dagger. You should always have a ritual dagger and some clearage oil. Now, the best time to cast waning moon. All right, listen, the world breaks our heart into a million pieces, right? Are you even living an interesting life if you don't have emotional scar tissue? Seriously. Trust no one, but don't let such a revelation keep you from love and pleasure, right? Cast the spell to use your life experience as knowledge that doesn't get in the way of enjoying good sex and love. So, number one, pull up the devil card from your tarot deck. In the Rider-Waite deck, the devil sits before a man and a woman in chains, right? Upon closer inspection, though, you will notice that the shackles are loose enough to step out of, but they remain in bondage by their own choice. Is this card just a kink scene? Maybe. But it reminds us that even when we sit back with the devil, the chains are always optional. Okay, so how can you use your own chains for knowledge? I want you to spread out newspaper because candle carving is messy. Remove the white candle from its jar, light clearage incense, and watch it pour over the white candle. Take your ritual dagger and carve an image of a sword into the candle. Swords represent intellect and are used to slice through the rope that binds us. Carve your name and zodiac symbol just to make sure the gods know it's you, which they do, but it helps you kind of infuse more energy. Pour clearage oil onto your hands and massage it all over the candle. Light the thing. As it burns, what's jaded and holding you back burns away, leaving behind only knowledge. I love that one. That's a good one. Oh, that was the last one because here's me and the girls. I don't know. I've ever told you. So here's me. I'm 100 pounds lighter now, but that's me. Here's Manders. That's Amanders. There's Madison. That's Delaney. And here's Miss Kenzie. So Kenzie just graduated from college with her degree in biology. Maddie is still doing performance arts. I think she's still working through the Rhodey Theater Group, but I'm not sure. I'll have to check with her. Actually, Maddie was just in a short film and she has been cast in a new film. I forgot, she's doing a new film that's going to be filming soon out in the Burlington Elkhorn area. So that was awesome. I just seen her short film that was entered into a film festival. It was very cute. I loved it. It reminded me of like Black Mirrors. If you guys watch Black Mirrors on Prime, I think it's Prime or is it Netflix? Netflix. Lainey is so sweet. She's like my little angel. Um, she has a partner out in New York and she's planning on moving to New York in the next year, which is kind of sad. But anyway, all right, you guys, let me stop sharing. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I know it was a little bit all over the place. Next month, I'll be going back to some more meat dishes with our Sacred Sexuality series. But as always, if you guys have any questions, any kind of follow-up needs, anything whatsoever, don't hesitate to reach out to me. This time of the year, it's very busy, so I may not respond right away, but I will respond. Stay magical.